If you want to create this Halloween neon sign effect from scratch, stay tuned, you're in the right place. First and foremost, you're going to need a dark background. This is going to help a lot with doing the neon effect. I found this picture on freepic.com by searching brick wall. It was one of the first one that came up. I just zoomed it a tiny bit in Procreate, and we have a really nice base for our neon effect. Our first step is going to be to add text. Make sure your color is set to white. Go to your actions to add and click on add text. Your text will show up in the color you have selected in the top right. In this case, I am using the Summer Hipster font, which I am leaving a link for in the description below, but it is only used as a reference. So we won't be using the text as is in the design. So you can really use any font you would like. There are plenty of really nice fonts on Procreate already. If you click the two A's here on the right of your keyboard, you will be able to choose fonts. I have quite a lot since I have bought and downloaded some, but there are plenty of options for you to use. So I'm just going to change my text for trick. Then I'm going to use my modification tool to make it bigger and place it where I want it on my canvas. Then I'm just going to go ahead and swipe left and duplicate, move it around, and change it to treat. Then I'm going to duplicate it again and do the or. This one, I'm going to change the size of and place it in the middle here. Each of our words are on a separate layer, so if you want to move them around, now is the time to do so. When you're happy with how they are placed, we can click on each layer and select merge down, or you can pinch the layers together. Now that our text is only in one layer, we are going to center it and click on the N of our layer to lower its opacity. I like to lower it to about 30%, even lower than that can be good as well. I'm going to go with around 20%. Then we're going to hide our layer by checking it off so we can get to some sketching. You're going to need to add a new layer, and we're going to use the symmetry tool for our design, as it will make things easier and your design will look more like a true neon sign, which is super calculated and symmetrical. To open the symmetry tool, you're going to go to your actions, click on canvas, and then toggle on the drawing guide. Then the edit drawing guide function will light up and you're going to click on that. Then at the bottom, you will select symmetry. And then if you like, you can use the rainbow at the top to make your drawing guide visible. Since our background is dark, I do like to use a light color to be able to see where the middle of my design is. Then you're going to click done. Now our new layer is going to have a little assisted under the name of the layer, which means the symmetry tool is going to be applied to this layer while we draw. Then I'm going to use the 6B pencil in the sketching collection of brushes, and we're going to start by doing our pumpkin. For the pumpkin, you're going to start by drawing an oval shape. Try to do the whole circle and hold it so it is using the ellipse tool from Procreate. Then you can let it go and you have a really nice oval to get started. Next, you're going to do semi-oval shapes on the sides. There's no set way to do this, but do it however you like, and you're going to do this 3 times. Then you can open your layer, click on the layer, and toggle off the drawing assist so we can draw the stem without the drawing guide. For the stem, just do a little curved triangle, and it's as easy as that. Next, we're going to toggle off this layer, create a new one, and click on it to toggle on the drawing assist again. This is going to allow us to use the symmetry tool for our bat. For the bat, I'm starting with a half circle to adjust it. Then we go with some curves until we reach the middle. Next, we can toggle off drawing assist from this layer and turn on every layer. You're going to select your pumpkin. You can choose the size you want it to be. Make sure you are on uniform. And you're going to place it where you want it on the design. And then we're going to do the same thing with our bat. All right, that feels good to me. I'm going to make the pumpkin a tiny bit bigger. And we're going to be ready for line art. Now we're also going to lower the opacity of our pumpkin and our bat. Remember, you have to click the N to access this function. Then we're going to merge our text with our two sketches. And we're going to name this layer sketch. Then we're going to be adding two more layers. The first one is going to be called line art 1, and the second one is going to be called line art 2. We're doing this because we're going to be separating our two colors in the design. For the line art, we're going to go down to our calligraphy brush set and use the monoline brush. This is going to give us a really clean line. In my case, I do like to go to the brush studio, click on stabilization, and I adjust the streamline and stabilization amount. Personally, I find that 12% streamlined and 50% stabilization is the best for me to have the lines as smooth and crisp as I want them, but you may want to test some out. So we're going to select our first color in the orange row and get started with our text. So we're going to go ahead and trace the skeletons of our letters. If you need to, you can always hold your pen at the end of a curve. And if you want to adjust your lines, you can click on Edit Arc at the top, and some nodes will appear. They will allow you to play around with your curve and adjust them so they are to your liking. It is not necessary, but sometimes it does help. Your tracing does not need to perfectly follow the letters, as they are more of a guide than an absolute. And if you have some lines overlapping, you just go in with an eraser and get that super clean. Make sure your erasing is very, very clean, as this is our final line art. Then we can add our dot to our I and the bar to our T. I'm going to make a little bit more fancy. And we have our first word done. If you want to, you can toggle off your sketch to see how you feel about your lines. And if they're good, then you can just keep going with the next words. I'm going to clean up this here and add the bars to the T. Next, we're going to select the first color of our purple lane and select the other line art layer. Now we're going to trace the outline of our pumpkin and bat. Again, always remember that you can hold your Apple Pencil and get the lines to clean up. I do use this feature a lot. It's super useful and really helps out to have those smooth, crisp edges. This here needs a bit of adjustment, which is totally fine. You can always go back, erase, and trace back things you're not sure of. Honestly, I do believe in learning by doing, so I do think this is the best way for you to learn the functions. We can now toggle off our sketch layer as we won't need it anymore. What you're going to do next is you're going to swipe left on each of your line art layers and duplicate each 3 times. So you have 4 of each. You're going to alpha lock the bottom 3 of each. You can either click and select alpha lock or swipe right with 2 fingers to activate the alpha lock. Next, we're going to select our dark gray in the bottom and fill the bottom layer of each line art. So to do this, you're going to click on the last layer and select fill layer. Then you're going to remove the alpha lock. You're going to do the same thing for line art number 1. So click fill layer and remove alpha lock. These two you can bring together at the bottom and merge. This will be our drop shadow. Then we're going to select our middle orange and fill the first alpha lock layer of our text. So you're going to click fill layer and deactivate alpha lock. Then we're going to take our third orange, fill the bottom layer, click fill layer, remove alpha lock. Then we're going to use our medium purple, fill our first alpha locked line art layer, and remove alpha lock. Use our darker purple and do the same for your last layer. Be sure that alpha lock is deactivated on every single layer, as if alpha lock is on, your next step will not work. Now, this is where our glow will look more and more neon. What you're going to do is you're going to select your bright orange layer, go to adjustments and Gaussian blur, and you're going to bring the Gaussian blur to about 10%. Then you can select your dark orange layer, go to adjustments, Gaussian blur, and bring it to about 8%. Next, we're going to merge these two together, duplicate them twice so you have 3 of them, and then merge them all. To finish your neon effect on this first color, you're going to select your white layer, click on the N, and bring it to add. This will just make it a brighter white. Now we're going to do the same steps again with our purple. So choose the bright purple, go to adjustments, Gaussian blur, and bring it to about 10%. Then we're going to use the dark purple, select your Gaussian blur again, and bring it to 8%. Merge these two together, duplicate it twice, and merge them. Then we're going to select our white layer, click on the N, and select Add. Our last step here is going to be with the drop shadow. You're going to select it and move it a tiny bit down here. Then you're going to Gaussian blur it by about 4%. Then you're going to duplicate it and merge it down. And that's basically it. In this case, I do think my background could be darker. So I'm just going to go and select my background layer, go to adjustments, use saturation and brightness, and bring the brightness down to about 46%. I think our neon effect seems like it's glowing more with a darker background. So that's it for this week's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to find more tutorials of lettering, surface pattern design, and more, please check out the links in the description. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.